Hello there, lovely people. It's Alex from Nintendo Life here, and I'm very pleased to report that Skyrim's latest update, version 1.2, makes the game actually decent on Switch 2 now. The big headline for this update is that it includes a new performance mode, which is, you guessed it, it's 60 frames a second. Frankly, the fact that the game launched in a state where it did not have this is kind of ridiculous on a console of the Switch 2's power, considering that this game originally ran on the Xbox 360, and I know that that was the original version. This is technically a newer version with more stuff, but even then, you know, it was embarrassing. The game's input latency was also absolutely criminal, but that has now been fixed as well. Performance mode does have a few little downgrades here and there in order to make sure that it's a solid 60 frames a second, and overall it is reasonably solid, but we'll get onto that in a bit. So first and foremost, it is running at a lower resolution, although realistically, if you're at a reasonable distance from your screen, at least in docked mode, it's not especially noticeable. If you look really closely, you can see the difference here on Lydia's sword's pommel, but even then, again, in motion, you're likely not to really notice it, and you know, doubling the frame rate is worth this kind of stuff. Another thing that's changed is that the render distance for foliage is noticeably shorter. If you look in the distance in like a large open field, you can easily see that there is not as much foliage on the ground as you would typically expect. Level of detail changes happen more obviously as well. The only real instance I could find is these tree branches here, and it is a subtle difference. But, you know, when you go looking for this sort of stuff, this is the stuff you find, and this is how, you know, you optimize a game and things like that. It's not a big deal by any stretch of the imagination, but suffice it to say, you will see a little bit more, not quite pop in, but, you know, level of detail changes will be a little bit more obvious. Textures, on the other hand, don't seem to be any different as far as I can tell. It may well be that they are low resolution, but the lower resolution overall of the game, the softer image, is hiding those changes so that they're not immediately obvious. But suffice it to say, it still looks decent, you know? One of the strangest sacrifices seems to be that the lighting just seems to be different. I don't know enough about lighting engines to be, you know, confident in saying anything of any technical degree, but I think it's fairly obvious that the lighting is different, to the point that it makes the game look as though it's running with like a narrower dynamic range. It's most obviously seen here with the executioner scene. If I hadn't been the one to capture it, and if this wasn't literally the same video file for both scenes here, just one long continuous recording, I would have thought that some settings within the console or within the capture had changed, but this is just how it is. It's a strange choice, but I'm guessing they need it to somehow get to those 60 frames a second. And I say 60 frames a second, and it is true, it is a pretty decent 60, but there are definitely drops when you're presumably loading new areas on the map, when you're just running across like big open plains. It's not like a massive deal or anything like that, and it's a vast improvement over the launch state, which even at 30 frames a second was getting some hideous frame drops, but even then, it's, you know, it's not ideal, but it's better. But frankly, I still don't think this is taking full advantage of the Switch 2's power. And I have a theory as to why that is, and it is just, you know, it's a theory based in nothing but being in the industry for 11 years and sort of acquiring bits of knowledge over time. But one other thing with this version of the game on Switch 2, it is that it is a lot larger in terms of file size than it is even on like PS5. It's over 50 gigabytes, which there is no way that the Switch 2 needs all that. There's no doubt, you know, unused files, you know, sort of textures for high resolutions or something like that. There's a lot of excess here that just isn't available in other versions, which is typical of games that have been ported suboptimally. And I think it's possible, and I do only mean possible, and let me know if I'm wrong in the comments down below, but the file size and the stuttering when loading are kind of linked together. Maybe, you know, it's trying to load too much, or the files are too big, or it's loading multiple instances of files, and that's causing the stutter. I don't know that, it is just a suspicion. There's another strange quirk that existed in the original version, but it's still here and it still hasn't been fixed, and it doesn't matter whether you're playing on like prioritized visuals or prioritized performance, it's there regardless. A line of stretched pixels is visible on the right edge of the screen, and it's not always noticeable, and when in motion you'll almost never see it, but it is there, and it's really noticeable if you just keep the camera still. I can only imagine it's something to do with resolution scaling or something like that, some sort of upscaling, but it's not a big deal. I didn't notice it in the original launch state, but now I have noticed it, and so have you, so you can't unsee it. Sorry about that. I also want to talk quickly about mouse mode, and this is a vast, overwhelming improvement to the point that it actually works properly. You'll probably still have to fiddle around with the control bindings to get it, remotely usable, but the poor responsiveness and input latency is, to my personal perception, completely diminished now and is comparable to the console's own mouse input latency, which, it's not a lot, but it is noticeable if you're used to using a good quality mouse with a high polling rate on a computer. But the headline here is that it actually works now and you can actually use it, and that is no bad thing. My god, it was absolutely unplayable before. I'm going to leave you with a big chunk of comparison footage now, but I will say that the timing cues seem to be a little bit different between the two different modes, so synchronizing all of this stuff perfectly wasn't possible, so there are going to be some little transitions and stuff like that. I try and get things as perfectly as possible, but the game simply wouldn't let me. But enjoy anyway. Please enjoy.
Hey, you. You're finally awake. You were trying to cross the border, right? Walked right into that Imperial ambush, same as us. And that thief over there.
Damn you Stormcloaks. Skyrim was fine until you came along. Empire was nice and lazy. If they hadn't been looking for you, could have stolen that horse and been halfway to Hammerfell. You there, you and me, we shouldn't be here. It's these Stormcloaks the Empire wants.
We're all brothers and sisters in binds now, thief.
Shut up back there.
What's wrong with him, huh?
Watch your tongue. You're speaking to Ulfric Stormcloak, the true High King.
Ulfric? The Jarl of Windhelm? You're the leader of the rebellion. But if they've captured you... Oh gods, where are they taking us?
I don't know where we're going, but Sovngarde awaits.
No, this can't be happening. This isn't happening.
Hey, what village are you from, horse thief?
Why do you care?
A Nord's last thoughts should be of home.
Rorikstead. I'm from Rorikstead.
General Tullius, sir. The headsman is waiting.
Good. Let's get this over with.
Sure. Mara, Dibella, Kinnereth, Akatosh, Divines, please help me.
Look at him. General Tullius, the military governor. And it looks like the Thalmor are with him. Damn elves. I bet they had something to do with this. This is Helgen. I used to be sweet on a girl from here. Wonder if Vilod is still making that mead with juniper berries mixed in. Funny, when I was a boy, imperial walls and towers used to make me feel so safe.
Who are they, Daddy? Where are they going?
To go inside and come.
Ulfric Stormcloak. Some here in Helgen call you a hero, but a hero doesn't use a power like the voice to murder his king and usurp his throne. You started this war, plunged Skyrim into chaos, and now the Empire is going to put you down and restore the peace.
What was that?
It's nothing. Carry on.
Yes, General Tullius. Give them their last rites.
As we commend your souls to Aetherius, blessings of the 8 divines upon
For the
you.
love of Talos, shut up and let's get this over with.
Learn. As you wish.
Come on! I haven't got all morning. My ancestors are smiling at me, Imperials. Can you say the same?
You Imperial bastards!
Justice!
Stormcloaks.
As fearless in death as he was in life.
Next, the Wood Elf.
Here it is again. Did you hear that?
I said, next prisoner.
To the block, prisoner. Nice and easy.